Imagine standing on the edge of a dark ocean at night. The water is calm, the sky is clear, and directly above you shines the brightest star in the southern hemisphere. It feels close enough to touch, like a lantern hanging just above the mast of a ship. You feel a pull in your chest, a primal urge to sail toward it, to see what worlds might orbit that distant sun. This is the dream that has fueled humanity for centuries. We look up and we see destiny. We see a future where our children walk on alien soil, where Earth is merely a starting point, not a home. But here's the terrifying part. That star is not a lantern. It is not close. And the ocean between us is not made of water. It is made of nothingness so vast, so absolute, that it defies human comprehension. We were wrong about the universe being within our grasp. The reality is far colder, far darker, and far more final than any science fiction movie has ever dared to show you. There is a reason why the sky remains empty of human footprints. There is a reason why the stars remain distant fires. And understanding why we will never reach them is the most important story you will ever hear. It is a story of limits, of boundaries that cannot be crossed, and it begins with the nearest star of all. To understand the impossibility, we must first understand the target. Proxima Centauri. It is our nearest stellar neighbor. In the grand catalog of the cosmos, it is the house next door. Astronomers tell us it is roughly 4.2 light-years away. But numbers like that are meaningless to the human brain. We are wired to understand distances we can walk, drive, or fly. We understand miles. We understand kilometers. So let us translate this cosmic distance into something you can feel. Imagine you shrink our entire solar system down to the size of a dinner plate. The sun is a grapefruit in the center. Earth is a grain of sand orbiting inches away. Pluto is a speck of dust on the edge of the plate. Now, where is Proxima Centauri in this model? It is not on the table. It is not in the room. It is another grapefruit located over 400 miles away. That is the scale of the emptiness we are trying to cross. There is no road. There is no fuel station. There is only the void. And currently, humanity's fastest spacecraft, the Voyager 1 probe, is drifting through that void. It is moving at 38,000 miles per hour. At that speed, if Voyager were aimed directly at Proxima Centauri, it would take 70,000 years to arrive. Human civilization itself is only 5,000 years old. You would need to launch a probe before the pyramids were built, and it would only arrive now. Think about that. The entire history of written language, of empires rising and falling, of technology evolving from stone tools to smartphones, would pass by in the blink of an eye compared to that journey. But we are not sending probes. We are talking about people, flesh and blood, dreams and fears. And that changes everything. However, that's not the real problem. The travel time is just the first wall. The second wall is physics itself. To make this journey in a human lifetime, say 50 years, we would need to travel at roughly 10% the speed of light. That is 67 million miles per hour. Achieving that speed requires energy levels that stagger the imagination. To accelerate a ship the size of a city bus to that velocity, you would need the total energy output of the entire human civilization for decades. And that is just to get going. You also need to stop. If you fly past Proxima Centauri at that speed, you have seconds to scan the system before you are lost in the dark forever. So you must carry fuel to slow down. But fuel has mass. More mass requires more energy to accelerate. More energy requires more fuel. This is the tyranny of the rocket equation. It is a vicious cycle that eats itself. You end up with a ship that is 99% fuel tank and 1% payload. And even if you solve the energy problem, you face the invisible enemy. Interstellar space is not empty. It is filled with microscopic dust grains and hydrogen atoms. When you are moving at 10% the speed of light, a single grain of dust hits your hull with the force of a bomb. The kinetic energy released is catastrophic. The friction would vaporize any known material. You would need a shield made of something that does not exist, thick enough to absorb impacts that mimic nuclear explosions continuously for decades. The ship would be sandblasted into oblivion before it crossed even half the distance. The universe is not welcoming. It is abrasive. And this is where everything changes. We begin to look for loopholes. Science fiction offers us warp drives, wormholes, and generation ships. Let us examine the generation ship. This is the idea that we build a massive ark, a self-sustaining world inside a metal shell, and we send multiple generations of people on the journey. The crew that launches the ship will die before arrival. Their children will die. Only their great-grandchildren will see the destination. But here's where things get strange. Human psychology is not built for this. We are not designed to live in a closed box for centuries without ever seeing a horizon. History shows us that isolated communities fracture. Mutinies happen. Cults form. The knowledge of the mission would degrade over time. By the fourth generation, the passengers might not even know why they are traveling. They might believe the ship is the entire universe. They might rebel against the mission to conserve resources. You are betting the survival of your species on the perfect social stability of a closed system for 200 years. No government, no corporation, no society in human history has lasted that long without collapse. To expect a metal can to succeed where empires have failed is not engineering. It is wishful thinking. Then there is the warp drive. The Alcubierre drive. It theoretically contracts space in front of you and expands it behind you. You don't move, space moves. But to do this, you need negative mass. Exotic matter. We have never observed this substance. It may not exist. Even if it does, the energy required to stabilize the warp bubble is equivalent to the mass of Jupiter. We are talking about moving planets to build an engine. The universe seems to have built in firewalls against faster-than-light travel. Causality itself breaks down. Time travel paradoxes emerge. The laws of physics appear to be structured specifically to keep us contained within our own gravity well. So we arrive at the hard truth. The failure is not just technological. It is existential. Every time we propose a solution, the universe presents a bill we cannot pay. We dream of fusion drives, but containment is elusive. We dream of laser sails, but diffraction limits the range. We dream of cryosleep, but freezing human cells without destroying them remains beyond our reach. Ice crystals shred the membranes of life. We are soft, wet creatures born of a specific gravity, protected by a magnetic field, warmed by a specific star. We are fragile. The cosmos is hostile. Every mini-hope we generate is met with a mini-disappointment rooted in hard data. We are like ants trying to cross an ocean on a leaf, hoping the wind will blow us to another continent. The odds are not just against us. They are non-existent. But this realization, as crushing as it feels, brings us to a breakthrough. A shift in perspective that is more profound than any engine. Why do we want to go? We want to explore. We want to ensure survival. We want to know we are not alone. But consider this. If we cannot leave, then Earth is not a cradle. It is a lifeboat, and it is the only one. The limitation is not a prison. It is a protection. It forces us to focus on where we actually are. If we could easily leave, we would have destroyed this planet centuries ago, assuming we could just find another one. The difficulty of interstellar travel is the universe forcing us to grow up. It is telling us that there is no plan B. The vastness that keeps us out is the same vastness that keeps us together. When we zoom out past the solar system, past the galaxy, we see that consciousness is rare. Life is rare. Complex. Thinking life is statistically almost impossible. We are the universe waking up. We are the eyes and ears of the cosmos. If we stay here, if we nurture this tiny blue dot, we fulfill a purpose that no other world can. We do not need to conquer the stars to be significant. We need to understand them. We can send our minds even if our bodies cannot follow. Telescopes are time machines. Probes are our avatars. We are already touching Proxima Centauri with light and data. We are already there in the only way that matters. The physical barrier forces a spiritual evolution. This is the emotional landing. We are small. We are fleeting. Our lives are but a spark in the dark. But that spark is precious. The fact that we cannot reach the stars makes the fact that we are here at all a miracle. Think of the fragility of our existence. One asteroid, one supernova, one shift in orbit, and we are gone. Yet, here we are. Asking questions. Looking up. The barrier is not a failure of humanity. It is a definition of humanity. We are the creatures of Earth. Our destiny is not to scatter across the galaxy like dandelion seeds. Our destiny is to tend the garden we were given. To preserve the only biosphere we know. To love the only home we have. The stars are beautiful because they are distant. They are mysteries because they are unsolved. If we conquered them, they would become mundane. They would become real estate. By leaving them in the sky, we keep the wonder alive. We keep the curiosity burning. The silence of the universe is not empty. It is full of potential. It is a canvas for our imagination. So, what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you look up at the night sky, you do not feel small because you are insignificant. You feel small because you are part of something too grand to conquer. You are a witness. And that is a noble role. The universe is vast, yes. But it is also inside you. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of dying stars. You are stardust that has learned to think. You do not need to travel to Proxima Centauri to connect with the cosmos. You are already made of it. The journey is internal. The exploration is intellectual. The legacy is what we leave here. What surprised you the most about the distances involved?